Ladies and gentlemen, this is Daniel Seven from Ottawa. I'm going to post this very brief YouTube video in a minute. They're going to be about 5 minutes here. I want you all to know on YouTube and the UN, the government of Israel, and the Russian Federation, and a few others, okay, to know that Canada is messing with our Amazon.ca account, okay. They're hacking our phone. The police are doing this. Okay, and they're blocking us from, they're harassing us with the phone. Yesterday I did 2 videos to upload to YouTube. One had photographic evidence of our property destroyed in Quebec, our boats, holes drilled. Actually, I'll show you one of the photos because I want to be quick here. I got things to do. But I'll pull out one of the photos, or a few of the photos. I got them here. I'm just not sure. Just wait a minute. I'm not in any rush. Okay, I'll just point out this one photo, okay, folks? Just let me just point the camera at it. This photo here is Quebec lowering the Richelieu River on my wife and I in a 10-hour period while we were sleeping, and we woke up to our boat, Jacob's Ladder, in the mud. Here's the boat here. That's my wife on the bow. You can see that the boat is high and dry in the mud on the Richelieu River as a result of the Nazis and the police and their cohorts opening up the Chambly Dam while we were sleeping. And if you look closely at the photo there, you can see the name on the boat. On the side there, next to the vent, between the bumper and the vent, it says Jacob's Ladder. Okay? Named after Jacob in the Bible. Okay? So I videoed some photos yesterday, and 2 videos, and also a document from Wonders Transport Canada, showing they applied the Commercial Shipping Act against my wife and I. Now, I tried to upload the second video because the second video was so important because the photographs are on the video and the document showing that the Government of Canada applied the Commercial Fader Act against our 30-foot vessel, which was illegal, in an effort to steal it. That's what they pulled. And they used corrupted organized criminals employed in Transport Canada, along with their security buddies, who were mafia, you see. And the man's name who did this to us, his name is Pierre Larabrune of Canada's Commercial Transport Office in Montreal. This is the man who is a criminal, who, with Italian mafia and other scum of the earth in the police, and they pulled guns on my wife on the boat on November 13th when they came to seize it, 2012. They pulled up in a rubber boat. I wasn't there. I was at a store. And one of the officers pulled out a gun and waved it at my wife from this rubber boat on my stern. And he waved it up and down and told her to get off the boat. And then I come along, and I see all these people, police gathered around my vessel illegally. I jump up on my boat, and there's this Italian officer at the front of the boat with his hand on his weapon. So I said to him, "Officer, why have you got your hand on your weapon?" And he wouldn't say anything. He just gave me this cold 10,000-yard murderous stare. I was told by one of the people there to hurry up and get off, that it was dangerous for us to be there. It was clear to me when I got into my trunk cabin. My wife said, "Dan, you don't know what happened before you came." I jumped out on deck to see what was going on. And I saw the rubber boat behind our boat. And this policeman in the back of the boat pulled out his gun and waved it up and down at me and told me to get off the boat. Okay, this was in November 13, 2012. So yesterday I did this video and I wanted to upload it to YouTube. Okay, I did 2 actually. I decided to upload the second one instead of the first one because the second one had all the evidence in it. The first one I was going to upload afterward if I had enough data. Okay, because they're making me pay to the teeth. The second video was 457 megabytes. Okay. Total. When I started uploading it to YouTube at 23% upload, YouTube indicated it still had 2 hours to upload to YouTube. That would have cost me 5 or 6 gigs of data for 468 megabyte video. Okay, so you see what Canada's pulling here, huh? So I wanted to let you all know what they're pulling, how the Trudeau government and corruption in his police, okay, are blocking me from putting up evidence on YouTube. We have a right to do that. This is clearly a Nuremberg policy by security. And I tell all of you that in Nazi Germany, under the Reich of Adolf Hitler, Jews were not allowed to post editorials. And I'm Jewish, by the way. Okay, here is my Star of David ring. Okay, you can see it there. And here is my menorah. I think I mentioned this in my last videos. That's what it looks like. You can see the candle marks on it for the Sabbath. Okay, so these people are applying the Nuremberg laws against me and my wife. They're applying the Nuremberg laws to block us from posting evidence on YouTube or anywhere else of the crimes committed against us by the Canadian government and security. This boat here's name was Jacob's Ladder. Okay, then we had another one after this boat because they took it. My mother bought us a boat. Okay, and they poured 5 gallons of water in the fuel tank while we were sleeping anchored on the Richelieu River, which damaged our engine. The engine would not start. All right, so I'm going to post this. So I protest the fact that Canada and its covert police, okay, are applying the Nuremberg laws and stopping me from posting legal, legitimate, videoed evidence against the government of Canada and their Nazi security apparatus. I have informed the ambassador of Israel to the UN. I called the office of Ambassador Ghalid last night to inform him of this. I called the World Jewish Congress and informed them of this and asked them to forward my voice message to the president of the World Jewish Congress. And I also called the offices of Rabbi Marvin Hier at Simon Wiesenthal Center in Los Angeles. They are very familiar with our case. I will indicate to the public in this brief video, because I'm going to send it up in a minute, that 2 years ago, okay, well, over the course of the last 2 or 3 years, prior to COVID-19 shutting down Los Angeles and Simon Wiesenthal Center, I was giving a report every day in phone called messages to the hate line at Simon Wiesenthal Center to Rabbi Marvin Hier and his colleagues about giving them all the details of the Nuremberg law applications by the Canadian government and their Nazis in security. Okay, before COVID-19 had reached Los Angeles, and Rabbi Marvin Hier and his colleagues had to shut down the center, I spoke with Aaron Breitbart there. He is head of the research department. He's an administrative official. And I was delightfully shocked at what he said to me. He said to me on the telephone, he said, "Daniel, we believe you." He said, "You and your wife get the hell out of Ottawa and go to Israel." Also, I'll report to you YouTubers out there and my Jewish brothers and sisters, God bless all of you. Shalom, God bless. I will tell you that Rabbi Barsky here in Ottawa, he runs the Friel Street Chabad, okay? I gave him our evidence 2 years ago, and I supplied this evidence to the Russian consulate here, and I asked them to send it to the Security Council. We wanted to appeal. They said they would. I think I explained that in my 2 videos I've already posted. Rabbi Barsky told me on the phone after I had not spoken to him since last October, I think it was, and I called him about a month ago. He answered the phone. The first thing he said to me was, "Daniel, you were right." What was I right about? Well, I was right about, I warned him that Jewish people were in big trouble and that there would be increased anti-Semitic attacks by neo-Nazis that are running the show in security with their thumb-fingered street thugs they recruited like Adolf Hitler did in all of Germany's detention centers from 33 to 40. The Gestapo in particular recruited thousands of street thugs. They didn't pay them. And these street thugs worked for the Gestapo. Okay? Their mission was to go around and keep Jewish people in the community in Germany under surveillance for the SS and the Gestapo. Okay? And commit vandalism and different kinds of crimes against the Jewish people on behalf of the Gestapo. Okay, this is what they were doing. This, by the way, you can, if you watch the black and white video on YouTube, it is titled Gestapo Documentary. Okay, now if you watch that video, it's in black and white, but you have to punch in Gestapo Documentary. Okay, that documentary, Schindler's List, several videotaped recordings of statements by Holocaust victims that survived, and all kinds of other evidence we were going to use at the ICC against Canada. Okay. And Canada would have been criminally prosecuted by the ICC for the application of Hitler's Nuremberg laws against my wife and I. Okay, they did this yesterday. They applied the Nuremberg laws again. They cut off my upload, drained my battery. My phone went off, okay, as a result of them draining the battery. And the phone was plugged in and everything was off except for the upload to YouTube, okay? And they cut the phone off, the battery power, and as soon as it went, the phone shut off. When I went to turn it back on, it would not come on. Then I got the reset icon on screen, okay, to set my phone to do a factory reset. When I did that, that erased my recordings here on the video camera of the phone. The recordings I was uploading to YouTube, and one of them was in the middle of uploading to YouTube. So those recordings were erased, and as a result, my video wasn't uploaded to YouTube. So I'm letting you all know, and I protest this. Our email address is, by the way, if you want to email us, you can email us. I'll make it simple for you. I'll give you my wife and I shared email account. It's in lowercase. It is dangen777@gmail.com. Okay, so it's in lowercase, so it's Delta, D is in Delta, A is in Alpha, N is in November, then J is in Juliet, E is in Echo, and N is in November, the numeral 777@gmail.com. I'm going to go, Shalom, God bless, and I'll try and upload, I'll try and re-record the videos again, okay, with, I was telling also in the video, in the second one, I was giving the public, okay, the story of what happened to my wife and I when we went to the RCMP to report my attempted murder in 2009, and how they kicked us off the property for a year when I tried to report my murder file, okay, to them, which the Toronto Police Service in Canada covered up. We were told by the Major Crime Section in 2009 to write up a report on all the people involved who tried to murder me, okay, while I was in jail, all right? And to go to a police division in Toronto and turn in the file. And they would contact us 6 weeks later. The Major Crime Section told me to do this. Well, they never did that. So we came to Ottawa and went to the RCMP. Commissioner Elliott told us that I could bring my file into him and he was willing to have a look. His secretary told me this. My wife and I tried twice. The first time we tried, we went to the bus stop. No one came out from the RCMP to take the file. We go to a bus stop. The RCMP come out in a marked car. Two females to get out of their car, come up to me and my wife, ask us if her name's Fitzgerald, and ask me if I had any weapons in my bag. And that is utterly insanity. In the end, we did manage to get the file to another RCMP detachment, the East Division. I walked in there with my wife in 2009, put the file on the commissioner's desk and asked for it to be sent to Commissioner Elliott's office. He was expecting it. Next thing I know, a few days later, I get a knock on my door telling me that we're not allowed on any of the properties. Will be charged with trespassing for a year. That was in 2009. Now I'm gonna go through this again. I'm gonna do another recording again, okay? And I'm gonna upload it, all right, to YouTube, and hopefully it'll go. And I'll pull out all the photos and I'll pull out more documents and I will shine the camera on them on this recording so people can see what they did. All right. The Russian Federation and the U.S. government cut deals with Trudeau government, okay, cut deals with him to suppress our case. Both the U.S. government embassy here and the Russian embassy here got the files, okay? And they tried to cover up the Nuremberg laws applied against my wife and I with Canada. This is what they have done. Okay, so I'm going to go. Shalom, God bless all of you, love all of you. And I'll upload this now, and I'll try and do the videos again. I protest this. I asked the World Jewish Congress, Simon Wiesenthal Center, the Office of the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, who's a friend of mine, and also the Israeli ambassador to the UN, to please condemn Canada for what they pulled yesterday. Okay, and also I also have a special request of Ambassador Naftali Bennett of the Israeli government and the Knesset to ban Canadian federal politicians from entering to Israel as a result of what they're pulling against my wife and I. You know, if they're going to commit the crimes and they're going to apply Nazi, what is clearly Nazi Nuremberg policies based on my research confirming this, then they have to pay for the crimes. Okay, Trudeau he has monopolized and mafiaized and Nazified his entire law enforcement community. Okay, and they are all acting together to block my wife and I from presenting our evidence publicly to any kind of news media. This is what they've done. I guess the first two videos were very damaging, you know, and the ones that I did yesterday were extremely damaging because like I said, I videotaped documents from our file and photographs to prove it. And like I said, this here is one of them. This is where in 10 hours the Quebec Richelieu River. Look at it. And I want to state to you, if you look at the photo, if you can see the photo of the boat, you look at the back of the boat where my thumb is there. This picture was taken about 8 a.m. in the morning in July 2012. By 11 o'clock that morning, the river was 6 feet behind my boat, and it was mud. That's how fast they were lowering it. They did this in Chambly. Canada has a dam in Chambly. Okay, it's a dam for the Richelieu River. And they use it in emergencies if the river floods up in this area here, because the houses are right on the water. They're a foot above 2 feet above the river. Okay, so that's what they did in 10 hours. And we went to bed at 8 o'clock, actually 10 o'clock at night. We got up at 7 the next morning. My wife got up and said, Dan, the boat's not moving. What's going on? Okay, because usually when she gets up, she can feel the boat rock a little bit. So I get up and I go out on deck, and our boat is high and dry in the mud. And like I said, that was around 8 in the morning. You can see my wife on the bow there. And the reason why she's there is we're trying to figure out a way to get off the boat, you know. And between 8 and, say, 8 and 12 that morning, the water dropped a further 6 feet behind our boat. Okay, this was in July 2012. So I'm going to let you go. Shalom, God bless all of you. I'll do the upload now, and I'll let you know. I'll let the ambassador of Israel know whether the upload went to YouTube. Okay, I thank you all for looking at my videos. I can't figure out why I've only got 27 views on one video and 7 on the second one. I really am at a loss to explain that, except to state that Canada is trying very hard as best as they can to block people from seeing my video. I will state that last week I went to the Russian embassy, or a week and a half ago I think it was, with my signs. Every single sign, all 4 of them, double-sided, 2 feet by 3 feet. I accused every line Nazis in the police and Nazi policies against my wife and I on behalf of the Nazi Trudeau government. Rabbi Barsky here of the Chabad here told me, I was so happily shocked. He said to me, yeah, Trudeau's a Nazi. He finally admitted it. It took some time to convince him, but somehow he became convinced. And I warned the Jewish community here a few years ago that Trudeau was a Nazi and applied the Nuremberg laws against my wife and I. Now Trudeau has backing from Joe Biden. Okay, the 2 of them are covering it up. I remind in my video the President of the United States, Joe Biden, okay, that when he was vice president under Obama, he received all my phone calls to the comment line about the attacks against our boat, Jacob's Goshen, Jacob's Ladder. I also made probably 100 phone calls to the Department of Homeland Security in Washington at 2808,000, leaving 30-second messages for Secretary Janet Napolitano. I was transferred to John Kerry's office when he was Secretary of State twice by the operators because they couldn't figure out why they figured out my messages in 15-second intervals calling there weren't going anywhere. So they transferred me twice to John Kerry's office. And a female voice came on the phone saying, we've reached the Secretary of State's office. Please leave a message. I did. Again, the State Department did nothing. And here the police and the motorcycle gangs, Nazis in the police, attacking my boat, Jacob's Goshen, and later on Jacob's Ladder, the second one on the Richelieu River, left, right, and center. Okay? With the complete permission of the United States Consulate here. The United States Consulate here is guilty. Okay? My wife went in there in 2012 with a package of evidence. Okay, regarding crimes committed against our boats, okay, and other things. They kept the file. They did zero with it. They knew that corruption in the police, the Nazis and the motorcycle gangs were attacking us. This was in the file. There was evidence there showing the photographs of damage to our boat to the U.S. consulate. Then I sent a package there in February 2020 at their request. Because the FBI, as I said in my last videos, in Albany, New York, were willing to look at our file. Okay, the corruption in the U.S. consulate handed the file to the RSO office, and the FBI never saw it. When I called Washington and complained, I called the FBI and complained in Washington. They told me, why don't you contact the FBI office at our consulate? I told them I did that about 10 times over the last more than a decade. And every time I called and asked for the FBI's office in the consulate, I was told they're not in. Okay, so I'll upload this video. We'll see if it gets uploaded, and then I'll pursue doing 2 new videos. I love all my Jewish brothers and sisters out there. I thank Simon Wiesenthal Center for their support about telling us to go to Israel. I thank Ambassador Galeed's office of the State of Israel in New York City. My wife and I need help here against Canada. And I'll say again, I have requested of Ambassador Galid of the Israeli government to forward my message to the Knesset, to the office of the Prime Minister of Israel, again requesting that the Israeli government ban all politicians on Canada's Parliament Hill from entering the State of Israel. They have committed crimes against my wife and I, and they're using Nazi police enforcement to block us from presenting evidence. Okay? Shalom, God bless all of you, and have a wonderful, wonderful week.